This is Mitch, and welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Man, this guy's doing about, I don't know, Mitch times 5. He's on steroids. He's got about 13 businesses. His name is Ty Lasater, and he's going to tell us, I guess we're just going to be talking about entrepreneurialism in general, and probably talking to the newbies out there, or and I say wannabes with all the love and affection as I can, want to be an entrepreneur, want to get out of that job, want to be your own guy, want to be in control of your own destiny, want to control your own personal finances. I want to talk to that guy. If you're afraid to jump or having trouble jumping, that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today too. So, but before we do that, I got to give homage to my sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. If you do not have a tax-deferred or tax-free environment in which to grow your retirement or your finances, you have no idea the size of the tool that you're missing. Please go to taxfreefuture.com, learn about how you can set up tax-deferred or tax-free IRAs, 401ks, solo 401ks, health savings account, educational savings account for your kids. Man, I got 37 video vignettes there. If they don't make you excited, I don't know what will. Go to taxfreefuture.com. You will not believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. We're going to tell you what they're not telling you. We're going to tell you why they're not telling you, and you're going to get it plain as day. All right, I'm back. Hey, Ty, how you doing?
I am fantastic, Mitch. I'm super happy to be on here with you today.
Hey, thanks for indulging me through that. But, you know, everybody in the world, whether you're in real estate or not, needs a tax-deferred or a tax-free environment to grow your funds. You're just crazy if you don't. Yeah,
of recent, I'm starting to see that more and more. I kind of just the last couple of years started seeing the success that we've seen and realized the problem that you can create for yourself. We were just talking about it a while ago, that it's fun to see what you owe when you owe that much, but it's also not fun to be sending that out to somebody who probably isn't putting it to use as well as I could put it to use. So
yeah, they put it on pallets and send it to places like Afghanistan and shit.
Right.
So, yeah, so we were just talking about, you know, yesterday was a major deadline for taxes, and it was one of those woohoo, oh crap moments, you know. Woohoo, oh no.
Well, I made that much, but oh man.
Bittersweet pill for sure. But so one thing about that, you know, I always thought if you're going to open up an IRA or whatever, you'd always want to Rothanize it and pay tax and then grow it so you can take it out tax free. You know, pay tax and grow it. But there is a definite purpose for traditional IRAs, because I have a solo 401k, and at the end of this year where, you know, I did well, I can take about 20, because I'm over 55, I can take $26,000 and my company will match me $26,000, and my wife can take $26,000 and her match her $26,000. So it turns out to be about $107,000 I get to take off my income if I put it into my solo 401k in a traditional lineage where I'm going to have to pay tax when I take it out. Helps today. Now there's two arguments. Tax bracket today may be as low as it'll ever be in the history of the world, so you may just want to wash your money right now. But if you're facing a big number, you may want to take $107,000 off your income, you know, before you start recalculating. It might throw you down into a lower tax percentage, which could really multiply your savings. So these are all kind of too technical stuff, but just to say, there's a place in the world for a traditional IRA and a Roth IRA. Believe me, you should have both. I
mean, that really goes into just about every aspect of business. So many people think that business is black and white, and it's not. There's so many different, you've got so many choices that you have to make. And that's throughout your business, whether it's deciding whether to grow and scale, add another business, add another product, or buy a property, and how you approach the marketing towards the properties that you're approaching. There's no black and white. You can't take business and say, systematically approaching it, here is the exact step-by-step process that you're going to take, because somewhere along the line, there's a human decision that has to be made.
Yeah, and the more you're in the business, I agree. Ben, you touched on a lot of points right there. I could blow up on just what you just said right there. One of them is, like when we buy houses, is what's your strategy? You know, I started out with a very minor strategy and I mastered it. And then I added another strategy. Be careful not to try to take on too many strategies at one time, because it's hard enough to learn one in the beginning till you get acclimated to the vocabulary and the ways of that world, just get on one. Like, use the internet to study everything there is. Gravitate towards one. When you're sure that's the one, drill down and get help on that from a professional who's already done it, and then buy or spend some money when you're sure that's the strategy. After you've mastered that, that's when you start expanding, like, multiple streams of income, but you got to start with one and be really good at it, right? Do you agree with that?
I absolutely. Like I always say, one of the things that I say is focus narrow and cast wide. I use a fishing analogy. Basically, a fisherman doesn't go out and just decide to start casting all over the lake especially when they're on a new lake in a boat or something like that. You got to focus. Okay, where are the fish going to accumulate? Okay, this is the strategy I want to approach. I'm going to approach this area. And then when I get there, I'm going to cast as wide as I can, a big net across that area. And you can't just say, okay, I'm going to do this a little bit, and that's not working in the first week, so I'm going to go move on to this, because you're really never going to become successful at that. I mean, it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're a professional football player or you're a professional real estate investor. It takes 10,000 hours to be successful at whatever it is you're going to do. And you can do my approach to where I tried to get to that 10,000 on my own and realized after a while that that's going to take a really long time. And then at that point, you decide what it is that you want to do. You start getting good at it, and then you can start buying that $10,000, if you will, from somebody else who has already created it, and find out what made them so efficient at doing it. And then you can leverage your time that way. And I mean, you should focus.
Well, so like, I have 8 businesses, you have 13 businesses. But what happens is you figure out you get that one business, and that business has got an exhaust pipe, and something's blowing out the back end that's not being used, right? I like to use the example. Let's say you have a sawmill, and people bring chop down trees to you, and you cut them into boards, and you get paid to cut those trees into boards. But what you're left with is a big old pile of sawdust, and you're going to have to pay to haul that to the dump, or you can figure out what you're going to make out of that sawdust. Am I going to put poison in it and put it in a bag and call it, ant pesticide, or am I going to glue it all together and make a board out of it, or what am I going to do with this? Because I got it for free. It's piling up over here, and I'm either going to pay to get rid of it, or I'm going to waste it. And so then you open up the next business. I didn't start out wanting to own 8 businesses. It's just like, what happened was, it's like, God dang, I got so many people that I'm talking to that need to convert their IRA. I started taxfreefuture.com, got with an attorney that's been doing it for years, that has this 10,000 hours, and I'm the part that brings the business in, and he's the one that does that other side, because I had all these people coming to me for that.
The exact same thing that we did. I mean, exact same approach. Like, I got really good after I finally decided to start paying to play, and I figured out what I wanted to do in real estate, and I found a couple of coaches that were really successful in that area, and I started implementing that into my business. Got successful in real estate, and after about 2 years, we did a multifamily project, realized that it was going to be more cost effective. One of my partners had done international business before, so we went to Southeast Asia, found some suppliers that we could get our product from, and then realized, well, if we're bringing it over, we might as well provide that to other people that we're working with that are doing projects as well. So now we've got an import business. Oh, well, we've got a construction company. We're doing construction on 100 houses a year. We might as well offer that to other investors. Oh, well, now we own a bunch of properties, and we got to manage these properties. If we retain some ownership in the properties with our partners, and or we partner with our broker, well, now we've got a management company, and it just continues to pile from there. Yeah. And you realize you can
we have servicing companies, note servicing company, because I was servicing my own notes, and I was servicing a few people's notes. Like, hell, and then you go find out some of these servicing companies, when you build them up, they sell for $5, $6, $7 million. I said, well, I think I could do that. I'm already doing it. I just got to, anyways. So one is focus, get good at it, then pay attention to what's just the residual around you. And there's some natural fit for the next business. So you're not going from flipping houses to making shoes. I mean, you're using some kind of knowledge, or all the knowledge from the core business that you do, and it's bleeding over. And I was going to say, I didn't start with I started with one strategy, but today I know all the strategies, for the most part. I'm really good at a lot of them. And when I buy people go, well, what are you going to, what's your strategy with all these houses? I say, I really don't know. I buy the house at a good price and I let the house tell me what it needs,
Highest and best use.
I'm the house whisperer,
Yeah.
It's in the slum. I probably don't want to go down there and collect payments from people. I'll probably just flip it or wholesale it even. If it just needs cosmetics, I'll probably rehab it and retail it, rehab it and retail it because it doesn't have much of a rehab. If it's got a lot of rehab to do, I'm probably going to own or finance it to someone with the wherewithal and the money to make on my collateral worth a lot more money. The houses tell me what to do.
That's so funny. On my podcast yesterday, I talked about something very similar in that I get so many people ask me, well, what's your acquisition strategy? Same answer. And it's like, well, my acquisition strategy is marketing. And I focus my marketing on a certain couple of areas, but I don't approach every deal with a low cash offer because that's not always the best outcome or the best solution to the problem that the potential seller has. You've got to go in with an open mind of, I'm in the business to solve problems. What is the best way to solve that problem for that?
Stop right there. What is the problem, sir? Sir, what is your problem? I mean, so many people go and try to make an offer. You haven't even figured out what the freaking guy's problem is or what does he want? Ask him what he wants. Ask him where the pain is. Figure out where the pain is. Figure out what he wants. And then see if there's a mutual thing to get together. Man, negotiating 101, but even the pros sometimes have to go back and visit the basics.
That's exactly true. That's exactly true. And then if you're just like, if you're so focused, and that was for 6 years, I was focused. I was like, okay, I'm going to be a real estate investor. And the only thing I knew I'm going to fix and flip houses and retail sell them. Well, if that's your only approach, like, again, you're pigeonholing yourself. And in a market where the market begins to fall down, then you're stuck with your pants around your ankle with 5, 6, 7 properties or how many you have that you're flipping at the time. And you're like, well, I can't sell them now. What's my exit strategy? And so that, like you were talking about, what does the house say is the best use for that house? And then let that determine your exit strategy.
Yeah, man. So what was the first inkling with you? Like, let's go back. When did you think real estate was it? When did it first dawn on you?
I had always been interested in real estate. And when I was in college, I played football in college, and I found out that if I went and convinced my dad that if he would buy a house with me and partner with me on it, that my 2 roommates who also played football, their scholarship would more than cover the cost of a 3-bedroom house. So I could live for free. Plus we could make some money. I decided, well, this is a good idea. And so we did that. And then along the way somewhere, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was getting my accounting degree. And so I ended up going into the accounting field, but I wanted to be in real estate. And reading a book, it gives you ideas, but it doesn't give you implementation. And so I was like, well, I'm going to be a real estate investor and I can do this on the weekends. And so me and a partner bought our first house and to fix and flip it. And if it's meant to be, it's up to me. So I tried to do all the work myself. And that project that should have taken about 17 days took, I think, 7.5 months. And I kind of decided, well, I'm going to go ahead and try this again and I'll learn from my mistakes. And so it really started train rolling from there until we got to the point to where I had to quit my job if we were going to keep doing that. So I quit my job and I basically took a 50% pay cut and realized I was responsible for my own insurance at that point and didn't know what I was doing in real estate. And so I'd made a big mistake. And at that point,
can I please have my job back?
Exactly. So at about that point, I think within probably the 6 to 9 months after that, I realized there's other people that are highly successful at this. And so I went and same thing you said you did. I spent about $35,000 on a mastermind, and I had 5 properties at the time that all I knew was fix and flip. And those 5 properties, I learned some creative finance exit strategies. And so we turned those. That's when we started doing our owner financing at that point, and really ended up being really profitable on 4 out of those 5 projects that otherwise we would have probably lost ourselves on. And that's when I really started to learn after that. And so I actually brought in a business coach soon thereafter as well, and went from, I think that whole year I had done 12 properties. The next month, in about a 40-day span from getting a coach to implementing what I was learning, I did 14 deals in those 40 days and made almost $500,000. And I realized I was onto something at that point. So,
yeah. So just everything's relative, right? How much were you spending on these coaches?
I spent on the first one, 35,000. On the second one, in that first year, I spent almost 100 grand. So in total, that first year, I spent $130,000.
Well,
And that was,
it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money,
it
but
is. That was about 10% of my income that year after that. So
money well spent, and you can't think of a better cause, right? You were improving yourself. So
exactly. If once you realize that you're your best asset, if you focus on that asset and you know what it is that you want to do, and you can start building on that. And that really went back to my college playing. And I understood that, I mean, I'm a little guy. I weighed 190 pounds playing college football. And so I knew that in order to be good, I had to have coaches outside of what I was doing at the time. And so when I started seeing what it did in my business, I was like, well, okay, if I'm doing this, what would you do here? And so then I'll pay to figure that out. Okay, now I got really good at this. And that's when you can really start scaling quickly. I mean, I went in about 2 years, we went from one business that was struggling to now 13 businesses. And that's exactly what it was. Had I not found out where my mistakes were that I could prevent and or keep from happening, then I wouldn't have been able to scale so quickly.
Man, and it didn't take you long to catch on to the get the hammer out of my hand, I got to delegate this job.
For 6 years, I did the bathtub surrounds. I did
6 years.
Yeah, I did. I was at least there when we would have more. So my brother and I ended up partnering in that process. And so I would be at one house, he would be at another one. We would have a team with us, and then we would have a team at one or two other houses, and we would try to bounce back and forth. And I mean, you're just completely inefficient because I didn't even know what exactly I was doing, much less trying to have 4 hourly people working for us that aren't professional contractors and don't know what they're doing. And once I realized, well, why don't I just go partner with a contractor that knows what he's doing? I'll provide the work and I'll provide the scalability for him. If he'll provide the knowledge and the hammer in hand, then we can start growing. So.
Yeah, people think I don't flip houses because one of the best strategies on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, in the creative real estate investing business, is the buy it, don't fix it, owner finance it for double, watch the guy making payments to you go over budget fixing up your collateral.
Yep.
Because the coolest thing about that plan is I buy it today at 9 o'clock in the morning at a closing table. It's for sale by 3. All the risk is in the rehab. I haven't invented much in this world, but there's a few things I come up with that are original. One of them is this saying: you make your money when you buy and you lose it in the rehab.
Okay.
So I took the one half, you make your money when you buy. Someone invented that way before me, but I put the tagline on it, and you lose it in the rehab. So if you got a plan where you don't have a rehab, that's where all the time is, that's where all the risk is, and that's where all the over expense is, or the expense. Yeah. Well, when you're not doing that anymore, you got to learn a new trick. You got to learn how to make sure that the guy you're owner financing has the wherewithal to actually get it done in a reasonable length of time and has the money or the funds or the expertise to do a decent job. But when that plan comes together, it's wonderful, because let's say you buy a house for 60, the owner financing for 120, or you could have put 40 in it and sold it for 200. Okay, but that would have taken 90 days or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And now you got 100 in it, and you got to sell it for 200. That's doubling your money, right? You got 100 in it, got to sell it for 200. Or you buy it at 60 and you just owner finance at 120. You still doubled your money.
Still double your money, and you cut that 90 days out, and
cut the 90 days out. And then this guy goes and spends 48 because we thought it was 40, but it's always 48. It's fucking never right. Excuse my language. What did I just say? Edit that out, please. Time cut. I'll drop the F-bomb plenty, but I don't like to do it on
live. Yeah.
Yeah. So cut that out. If they missed this cut, I apologize sincerely to everybody out there. Okay. In 5, 4, 3. What's the time signature? 39:18. Okay. 5, 4, 3. So you got 60. If you buy it for 60 and you sell it for 120, you still doubled your money. But I'm for sale by the end of the day. And I'm on doing what makes the money. What makes the money, Ty? Finding that half off.
Finding the deals. Finding the deals.
So onward, onward. And I trained my sales guys how to sell and how to market to find the buyer for the you fix it house. You fix it. I'm going to give you a great note, 30-year fixed, no balloon, but you just got to convince me that you can fix this house in the next 30, 40 days. You're going to make progress, and don't make this mistake. If it needs a roof and a foundation, make sure you spell out that the foundation has to be fixed first before they do the roof, because people will fix the roof before they fix the
crimp in the shingles isn't supposed to be there.
Yeah. I mean, golly, I discover all these things by having it happen to me, and it's not fun.
A smart person learns from their mistakes, but a genius learns from somebody else's. So as long as you're not repeating those mistakes, and a few of them you can learn it from somebody else, and you're okay.
No, Ty. I'm the guy that's making all the mistakes that all the geniuses can learn from. Make no mistake about it. I got to learn this crap the hard way. I'm the guy that touches a stove not just twice, maybe 3 times to find out if it's really going to burn my fingers.
We may have been melted from the same mold, Mitch. I'm not sure. So
after that, I pretty much get it. Although it might, a year or two, I might walk over and touch the stove again. Give it a year or two.
Yeah.
But I would like to say that I was one of those genius guys, but I'd just be lying. I got to do it my way until I figure till it finally pans out that the reason why they say not to do it this way is exactly what's happening to me.
Right.
So, and I have students like that. And, I've learned to recognize them. Hey, I told you not to do it like that. You're going to go ahead and do it. Hopefully you don't get the result I think you're going to get. But if you do, I'll say it now. I told you, but maybe you're one of those guys that got to learn like I learned. I mean, I get it. I'm not going to badmouth them.
I got really, I like to say I got lucky. And I think it was by design. I found a partner who was able to speak to me in a way to where it made it all, he seems to always make it sound like it's my idea when he's telling me not to do something. And it's genius by him. And he knows that if he challenges me in the direction that he wants me to go, then that's the way that I'm going to go, instead of wanting to go the way that I originally thought I wanted to go.
I like him already. This guy's, he's no dumbass.
Right.
So I'm trying to find my interview questions here, man, because you had some really good ones. Okay, so what's your Lincoln effect? And first of all, why do you call it that? Because I found that interesting, the Lincoln effect.
So I call it that, and it's been before that, but it's one that really made it stand out to me, especially in the car industry. And so you walk through an airport, and everything that you see on every billboard is Julia Roberts or Nicole Kidman or Hugh Jackman selling everything, Tag Heuer, Rolex, Chanel, or whatever the case may be. And the car industry had not really implemented, especially since kind of their implosion, had not implemented the branding by association and that celebrity branding, until Lincoln, who was widely known for a long time as the old person's car. And so they were really niched in a market that, I mean, for not to be morbid, but a dying market, right?
Yeah.
And so they went out and they got Matthew McConaughey to be the face of their name. Well, now every woman wants, I mean, I like to think my face is pretty, but my wife likes a Lincoln Navigator now, right? And so you now get that young female attraction because of that. And all right. Now all the guys think they can attract the woman again now if they go out and drive the Lincolns. And so that Lincoln effect is what makes you stand out, not be the clown, the guy that shows up with blue or orange hair, but what makes you stand out in it. Business has never been easier to start with social media and with the internet the way that it is. That's good and bad. It's good in that you can go start any business, and if you know how to do it, you can be good at it, but it's bad in that it creates a bunch of competition. So how do you stand out from your competition? And so I call that the Lincoln effect. And it's, for me, once I learned how to start doing the real estate that I wanted to do, the markets and the niche that I wanted to be in. I wanted to be in the small multifamily, under 50 units, and then single family houses. And then I really like college towns. And so once I figured out how to do that really well, then I needed to figure out, well, how am I going to raise my capital and do things like that? And so that first business coach that I got showed me that celebrity branding. And so I did an interview with George Ross, and I positioned the interview where I could show, he's Donald Trump's right-hand man, had done $400 million in real estate deals himself. And that one interview raised me $7 million in 6 months. And then I turned around and met Vanilla Ice and got a promo video with Vanilla Ice, and I positioned it with the Vanilla Ice Project and his $500 million real estate business that he's created. And that interview and that promo video raised me $10 million. So within a year, I had raised $17 million. And prior to that, I'd only been able to raise about $250,000. I really realized that I was kind of onto something at that point. And so I call it the Lincoln effect because it registers to me, but it's just branding.
I was thinking Abe Lincoln, but now it makes perfect sense. And that's true. The Lincolns and Mercury Lincoln and all that was, the geezers drove those cars, Yep. And so they brought it in, they made it cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons I do these podcasts is because when talking to smart people like you and many others that I've talked to, I always have a revelation. And I have missed the boat on my unique selling proposition for 22 years. And you just pointed it out to me.
Right.
I sell with 30-year fixed notes. You don't have to qualify. I have not pushed that at all.
Uh-huh.
And I could get it further down the road if I had a celebrity standing down me. I could be the only guy in town and everyone know me, but I got to have someone more popular than, famous than I am to pull me into that light in this one little town and say, that's the guy that does the 30-year fixed seller mortgages. You don't have to go refi. It's not an option. It's not a contract for deed. This guy makes you the taxpayer of record, the owner from day one. You're on the deed. He's the lien holder, and you don't have to go get a new loan and cash him out ever. You can pay for 30 years.
That's exactly right. And
no one, I don't really know anyone that really does that, except for my students.
Yeah. There's not many people at all. And I did learn that a little bit. Vanilla Ice, he decided to be the bank. So he's got a mortgage company as well, but he does it more to the high-end buyers that could qualify otherwise, but he just decided to create a bank anyways. And so
he's creating on rate and points. He's running like a mortgage company. My people can't get a loan.
That's how our people are. Same exact model.
The reason why I decided not to have balloons anymore after 5 or 7 years.
Because they're just never going to qualify.
They aren't. And I got tired of making the decision. Do I take these people's house and their $15,000 down payment away from them? Or do I prove to them that their written word and their signature is not worth crap and forgive them?
Exactly.
Both ways it sucked. I didn't like taking people's houses and their down payments. I'm not in this business to pull the rug out from under people and run off with their down payment. I'm not in that business for that. I don't want to be in that business. It's an unholy business. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now I got to take some because I got to defend myself. If you can't make your payment, but usually if you
give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. But if you set expectations, they're pretty good with expectations.
But it kept happening. And so I said, I got to come up with a way. I'm way more sophisticated than they are. I'm just going to give them a 30-year mortgage. I'll figure out how to fix the issue, longer term, my money underneath basically is what I'm talking about. And I did, and I do. But again, morphing. What's the problem? Why does this keep happening? How do you stop that from happening? What's the good result? How do I make that happen more often? Morphing all the time. And I just personally, and this is my personal beliefs, and I've talked to you earlier, and I know you're the same way. It's got to be a win-win for everybody. And a business can't be set up to hurt people if you want to have it go into perpetuity and maybe even be a legacy long after you're gone.
That's not sustainable. Exactly. It's just not.
If your business model sucks in its morality, then it's not going to work. And I'm not I'm not a real big fan of building flash in the pan stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's building a house on sand. That's all that is. It's eventually, it may be beautiful for a short little while, and it's going to fall. It is going to fall.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you always hear your network is your net worth, right? And I really, for a long time, I was like, yeah, that's great. But what does that mean? How do I just go start networking with people that have the net worth that I want to be? And I think that once, I'm not the kind of person, like, I mean, I get on a plane, and one of the things that one of my business coaches told me is like, always fish where your fish are at. And I used to look at traveling and okay, how do I save? I had never flown first class. When I started flying first class, I started doing it because I knew that I could raise capital 1 out of every 4 flights. And doing that, you also will meet some celebrities sometimes flying. And so I'm not the guy that'll sit next to somebody and, oh my gosh, you're so-and-so, and just like an idiot about it. But I understood finally when I started using that branding, I was like, wow, like, not that other people care or not care, it's that face they are able to recognize. Nobody recognizes my face. I mean, I'm not known, but they recognize the face of whoever it is that I decide to put on that marketing piece with me, and for whatever reason that I'm doing it. And so I think that's when I really started to understand your network is your net worth, and it's branding by association at its best.
Okay, so probably the people that listen to me are probably sick and tired of hearing this, but you don't know this, so I'll tell you. I have $20 million worth of private money from people.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of it, because that's what I asked for, because so many of my private lenders were way up in years, to make it easy for them. It's 5 years interest only 8%. Okay. And they get a first lien on my property, and every deal stands on its own. So if you have 500,000 you want to get out, you don't send me 500,000. I send over a deal and say, I need 60,000 to buy this house. I'm going to owner finance it for 120. I'm going to put you in a first lien position, and I'm going to do a wrap on your mortgage, you know? And that deal stands on its own. Now we got 60 out. So now we got, 440 left to go. And I just send one deal over a time, and every deal stands on its own, has a basis, and it has a collateral value. And when that value gets to be, there's a big spread between those two values, it's a relatively low risk deal for anybody on the planet.
Absolutely.
I never let my guys in over 65% of what I can own or finance the house for. And I average 58%. Like if I can buy a house at 40%, I'll just borrow 40%. I don't borrow up on my equity. You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's it. That was actually one thing that Scott taught us. And I think it's because he went through 2007, 2008, and maybe had his pants down a few times. So
I watched people in 2001, and then I saw in 2008, by not over leveraging how everyone was dropping like flies, I was still doing amazingly well and actually boomed in the recession. The reason why you boomed in the recession was I had $20 million worth of private money. In the recession, the banks closed, right? So the bank closed, but I didn't need banks to buy houses. I had that private money. And then my buyer didn't need a bank to buy my house because I was financing him. So like when the banks are closed during the recession, I'm like one of the few people open for business on both.
Or the bank that is open. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I was buying at the low of the low and selling at the high of the high. As a matter of fact, in a recession when no one can buy a house because the mortgage companies and the banks and everybody tighten up so tight they're not even loaning money, that makes everybody a renter.
Yeah.
They're coming in the market, they have to rent because no one's loaning any money unless they have cash. Okay. And that's very far and in between. So there's a lot of pressures put on rent. So during the recession, the rents are going up. And my owner finance sales price is based on the rent. I just back into the rent payment to arrive at my price. I'm trying to, that's why my little niche of the world is like 160,000 or less, because in that price range, I can trade the rent payment for a PITI payment.
Right. Exactly.
The only separator being, do you have a down payment that makes me happy, which has to be 10% or more.
Right.
I'm averaging 12% down in 9 days on the market right now. In the last 300
wow.
houses. Just did the numbers. We just did the
That's
numbers.
Impressive.
It is.
9 days on the market with 12% down payment.
Even I said, run it, figure it out again. That's too good. Look at it again. Something's wrong. And no, it came back good. And I have a 2% fallout rate, which during a recession will go up to 8 or 10% maybe 12%. But I'm in the business of reloading these houses. That's what I do. It's not like when a bank gets a house back, they don't know what to do with it. I've been reloading houses for 2,000 houses in a row.
Yeah, you've got way,
you've got
houses, way more volume. You've got way more volume than I have, but we're running at about that 2% fallout rate as well. And that's tough to do as well. But I think when you require that down payment up front and require an amount that you know you're comfortable with, it also, I mean, these people that are looking for this let's face it, they have a big ego, and they're not the type of people that are just okay with walking away from a mortgage and being foreclosed on. Most of them don't want to do that.
Well, even if they don't value that credit history, because a lot of my people don't even have a credit history,
right?
Because they're Mexican nationals,
Yep.
you know, because I live in San Antonio, Texas, in a town where we're 65% Hispanic. It's a natural fit for me. It's a natural fit for them, but they work hard. You know, $15,000, you know, $10,000, $15,000, a lot of money in anybody's book. It's a whole lot of money to someone who makes $50,000, $60,000 a year. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's a ton.
They're going to do whatever it takes to stay in that house.
And you know, that culture does band together to work together if there's a crisis. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? They
Absolutely.
really do. So, I don't know if we're going in the direction you wanted to go or not, but these are interesting topics, huh?
I love it. I mean, I love talking business. Like, I love business, and I love real estate and our real estate market that we're in. And so I am absolutely fine with the direction.
Okay, so let's talk about, there's two potential giveaways here, and Ty's written 2 books. Well, one of them's established, and another one will be coming out pretty soon. The first one you can go over and get right now. You go to REInvestorSummit.com/Ty. We're going to make it real easy. TIE, like that blue tie on his neck, okay? /Ty. And he's got an ebook you can download, Getting Started in Real Estate with Ty Lasater, okay? And then he's got one just around the corner, should be out any time now. Partner Your Way to Millions with Ty Lasater.
I plan on it being out within the month. I don't have any events planned until November, and so hopefully it's going to be out within the month.
So let's talk about, actually these two can be tied very closely together. Getting started in real estate and partnering your way to millions, because usually the way you start in real estate is strip it down to the basic. Tell me if you agree. Typically, you're just a professional deal finder, and you've learned how to write a really good contract and get a really good price. That's your value. Because you don't have any money, you really don't know what to do with it. If you could even buy it, you're probably going to get yourself in trouble. So that's what you learn how to do. And you should either wholesale, which is okay as a start, but you should move very quickly to partnering up with partners. Why?
So I'm glad you positioned it that way, because that's exactly my process on it. And when that first 40 days that we really started figuring this thing out, out of those first 14 deals, 7 of them we wholesaled. But I knew that I was not going to be wholesaling indefinitely. And as I was wholesaling those, the other 7 that we were working on, I was working on putting partners together to partner on those deals. Because the issue that I've seen with so many of these kind of fly-by-the-night wholesalers that are popping up now, it's a lot like the mom and pop industry in the oil and gas. Those are the first people that are not going to have a sustainable business when the market has a downturn or an effect. Because what happens is, if all you focus on is wholesaling, and you do that for a very long period of time, you target yourself as a wholesaler. And so now no partner is going to look at you, and they've been buying properties from you at a pretty good discount that what they like. And then the minute you go to ask them to partner with you on a deal, they're going to say, no, I just want to keep buying the properties from you. I don't need to give you.
You diminish their position. Like they've just been buying for a fee and buying for 15% and making the other 85% or whatever. Exactly. So yeah, they're not going to want to. It's just like trying to ask someone who's been your partner if they'll start loaning you money.
Right. Exactly. No, I'm not going to go to an 8% return when I've had a 50% return or whatever you give them. And that's exactly right. And so what I started doing is, instead of asking for referrals or anything like that, I started asking for introductions. So anytime that I've got a partner that I've been working with, or an investor that's either lending us money or partnering with us on deals, instead of just going around and asking for referrals, no wealthy person is always asking for referrals. They want an introduction. How can I have a face-to-face and meet somebody? And when you're working with an investor who has money, you can guarantee that they know other people that have money. And that's how we started. Our focus on our investors are, most of them are doctors, lawyers, attorneys, or engineers, high paying individuals that have kind of the golden handcuffs, but they like what they're doing and they don't have the time to deal with their excess capital.
They're smart enough to come to the conclusion that they need to just let the money work on its own, and they need to stay with their job and then enjoy their time that they're given off from that job. Because
Exactly.
most jobs are stressful jobs too.
Exactly. And so we started asking for introductions with those people. And that's how we started building our doctor network and things like that. And so those introductions was, hey, who do you know that you can set me down with, a 30-minute coffee or an hour-long lunch on me, that we can sit down and together have a discussion on what it is that we've been doing together.
Can I expand on that? Because you don't want an introduction to a young doctor 2 or 3 years in who's building his practice. He's going to take his money to build his business, right?
Exactly.
You need the guy that's way down the road,
58 years old, and
he's ready to stop, and he just wants to go travel the world, and he wants his check in his freaking mailbox on the first.
Yep.
You gotta spend a little time asking, like, someone wants to introduce you to somebody. If this guy's growing their own practice, probably not the right fit. Although I've learned not to preclude those meetings, especially if I don't have something better to do, or
right,
because they can lead kind of around the corner. Also, I used not to take meetings with people I knew that didn't have very much money. Big mistake. Big mistake. You treat people who don't have very much money exactly like you treat wealthy people, because the minute they come to you and confess what you already know, I really don't have any money, say, don't worry about that, but certainly you know someone who we can help. I mean, who do you know that needs this return, that needs this kind of, and they go, well, my grandmother's worth millions. And so, so instead of going one step, sometimes you got to 2 steps, or what I mean?
Absolutely. That's that introduction. That's a perfect point. And a lot of the times that person that you were talking to, they know the person who has money, but they've just never known how to go to them, or what problem to go with them at, to take that money and utilize it. And that's where you can come in and really create an opportunity there.
And the person without money is usually enamored with you because you do have money, and you're talking to them about how you are being successful, and you're kind of giving them behind the curtain look at things, and they feel honored to be in the same room. I don't mean to sound cocky with this, but I've seen it a lot of times. They feel really privileged to be with you, and they want to return the favor. Well, they want to do something for you because they sense that you're trying to help them, even though they have nothing to give to you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a phenomenal point. It's that, I mean, success is a magnifier of however you've approached life before you were successful. And I mean, I think that's a great point too. It doesn't matter who you're networking with, who you're meeting. You've got to always treat everyone the same. And that's creating that loyalty and that commitment to yourself. And so that everybody sees that it doesn't matter what you do what you say you're going to do, and you say what you're going to do. And then people can trust you to always do that. Instead, if they see you treating one person differently than how you treat another person. And I mean, I think that's phenomenal. That's one of the biggest things that helped me grow in business, was doing
not the direction I wanted to go, but you hit my pet peeve. You got to do what you said you're going to do, even when it hurts, even when it sucks. I learned, by the way, I quit drinking and smoking about 3.5 months ago at the same time. I've been drinking and smoking my whole life. I never got in trouble. I never did anything, but it's like enough. But I learned a long time ago, when I was drinking at the Christmas party, don't make deals, because after the Christmas party, I'd wake up in the morning and said, why did I tell that guy I was going to partner with him on this thing? I don't need a partner on this thing. But you know what? My bulldog mouth said it, so my poodle dog ass better do it in the morning. Yeah. And I did it every single time. But I mean, I learned, you learn to keep your mouth shut, even leave the drinking aside or whatever. But you get gregarious, you get in the eggnog, things are warm and fuzzy, the fireplace is going, and everyone's having a great time, and you're having this great conversation, and you kind of wish you wouldn't have agreed to so much, but you did.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, with our first couple of partners, I wouldn't say we gave away the farm, but we got close to doing it, you know, and it's like you're getting started and you need that partner to come in and invest with you. And so it's like, you're going to give it away. And so what we did, and we made a commitment to them, and it's one of the most painful things, but I don't ever want to, doesn't matter the partner. The first partner that gave us $15,000 versus the partner that we've got a couple of partners that are in the 7 and 8 figures even. And it's like, I'm going to do whatever I said that I'm going to do. And so that first partner that gave us money, we still do deals with them, even though we know that we're going to have to give away the farm every time that we do. But every time we do deals with them, they increase what they've invested with us. And that's just part of it. You know, you do what you say you're going to do.
There's different buckets. So let me tell you a funny story. One of my partners, he's Sam Ombre in the first book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom. His real name is Sam Madrid, and he's since gave me permission to use his real name. But we did our first 450 houses together. But we were talking about our very first deals before we met each other. And Sam said, he goes, I was so dumb. He goes, I had this deal and I was so scared that I went and got a guy to be partners with me, and I put up the money, and then I fixed it, and then I sold it, and then I gave half the money to him, and he didn't do anything.
I'm glad somebody actually was competent enough to put that in the book in public, because I talk to so many people that they're out there and they're wanting to get into real estate and they don't have any money, and they just think that, well, I'm going to go partner with somebody else who doesn't have any money and we're going to split deals, but it's the blind leading the blind. Like, go out and your partners need to offer and bring something to the table that you don't bring to the table. You don't want to marry yourself. That's a disaster. And I mean, my wife and I are 2 type A personalities, you know, and so our arguments are just fun for everybody else, not for us. But when you get into a partnership with somebody, it's the same thing. If you're partnering with somebody who is you and brings the same things to the table, you're not going to get anywhere. And
it needs to be an experience with money, or a contractor in a house finder. You know, it's got to be something different. So we're talking about this book, Partner Your Way to Millions. Let's talk about good partners. First of all, well, before we get to the good, well, we can do it either way. Good partners, or why you would want to have partners. Why you would want to have a partners is, one of the best reasons is you want to partner up the best you can.
Yep.
If you're a great deal finder, one way to find people that one way to get in a room with people that you would never ever be able to get in the room with is bring them a great deal. I can buy this $200,000 house for $78,000. Can I come talk to you about it? You know, the guy's a billionaire and doesn't need you for crap, but okay, you know, come on over. You know, you got to get, that's a good way to get in. Why would you want to partner with this guy? Well, one, he has the money. So if you go with people that have money, like doctors and lawyers, the problem with that is you're partnering with people that have money, but they have no expertise. And if you're young, you're not getting anything else but the money, and the money's almost can get you in trouble if you can get too much of it too fast.
Yeah.
If you don't, so the best partners is someone who's already done 100, 200 houses and has money. And now you're partnering with a guy, you're going to tap, and I don't say this in a malice, or what do you say, a bad way. Be very cautious how you use what you find here, but you're going to eventually meet all their contacts. You're going to meet their attorneys. You're going to meet their plumbers, their lawyers. Now, don't just go start talking to them on your own, but take notes, you know. You're going to meet attorneys. No one cares if you call their attorney. They do care if you steal their freaking plumber, if it's a full-time plumber, you know, for them. You know, go ask them, I got a house, can I use your plumber? No, but I know another guy that I used to use, you know, be careful. But if you partner with someone who's already got their 10,000 hours in the house business and they have the money, now there's a partner. You're going to like go, your learning is going to go like this.
Absolutely. That's a phenomenal point. And you know, what that person has gotten to that point, and they're to the point now that they're ready to leverage. They don't want to be overseeing every deal that they do. And that's where you're going to have the opportunity to step in and offer something that they don't want to do. And as you bring that up, that's funny. I'm in the process of finalizing a deal with my first really mentor that was the exact same situation. I was introduced to him. He's a real estate investor and had a construction company, had done hundreds of deals and had had a heart attack and was really ready to kind of start slowing it down. But he didn't want to stop flipping houses. And so I was able to come in, manage projects for him, and we partnered on deals together.
Take the load off of him.
Exactly. Now you're going to give up something to do that because you're paying to play at that point, right?
You're paying 50% or whatever the agreement is.
Exactly. Whether you're paying for that mentorship or you're just paying somebody to consult you on whatever it is to do, you're paying to play. And so now, fast forward a couple of years, and he is owner financing me his multi-million-dollar property that he had lived in his estate. That now I don't have to go out and do that, right? And so that's a relationship.
There's a whole different ways that those relationships happen. One is you think that, okay, I'm going to go find the deals he's going to put up the money. If he's been in that business that long, there's going to be deals walk right in his door and lay down that you're going to get 50% of that you would have never found. Exactly. There's a whole bunch of things that can happen. You know, sometimes the old timer can say one sentence that'll be worth tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over your career because he pointed out this one thing. You know? Yeah. I've had those aha moments where someone said something to me and I just want to take my hat off and throw it and slap my forehead and go, you know, if I'd have known that in the last 10 years, I'd be worth another $10 million.
That's so true. And I meet so many people, successful business owners, successful entrepreneurs. One of the things that we all have in common is we're very type A personality, high D personalities. We're very driven, right? We all like to be the voice that's heard, but you've got to learn. You've got to be aware of your surroundings. And I'm the type of person, like, I walk into a room, I want to be the one that's noticed. I want to take command, but I also know, like I've mentioned some of my partners, and now sitting here speaking with you, I know when to shut up and to listen. And there's so many people that haven't figured that out yet, that they think that they know it all. They want to be the person that knows, and you can't, you're going to have a very difficult time partnering with that person who has that experience if you have that kind of attitude. And that's why I've mentioned Scott, my other partner, Bob, and I have the ability. They've got the same personality as me, but when I walk into that room, I know when to shut up and use my ears, since the good Lord gave me two to listen and only one mouth to speak. Now, when I'm in front of people who I have more experience than you can guarantee that I'm going to take control of that situation. And so you have to have that situational awareness, I think, and that's something that's really helped me to be successful recently.
So let me tell you about my partner. I didn't want a partner. I didn't want a partner. I thought, well, I don't know what I thought, but anyways. So he calls me. He wants me to mentor him. You know, he wants to pay me my fee, but I don't mentor people in San Antonio for a whole lot of reasons. It's not a lack of abundance, although one of the reasons that I don't do it is inevitably I cast a very large net in my town. Inevitably, I'm going to be competing on a house with my student. Right, and it's a really bad deal. I don't know whether to crush him or to let him go, but either way, it's a bad deal.
It's two-edged sword.
Yeah, I'm going to lose $40,000, $50,000, $100,000 on this house if I give it to him, or I'm going to crush my student and compete with him. So a lot of different reasons, but so he's from San Antonio. He keeps calling me, and I keep telling him I'm not going to do this. So I learned one thing about him. He put himself through college with no debt.
Wow.
At Texas A&M. And he did it selling commercial real estate in his 20s in Bryan College Station.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, you know, when I heard this and I confirmed it, I thought, you know, it took him 7 years, but shit, he had a full-time real estate job and he was, not only that, his father had told him on his 18th birthday, you got 30 days, find a place where you live, you're on your own, you're a man now, you're going to do everything on your own, you'll get no support from us financially, you'll have all the love and respect we can muster, but you're going to go do it all by yourself, and you're going to go to college, and you're going to make me proud. So figure out how you're going to do that stuff. You got 30 days. Well, he went and did it. He's paying for his own house, his own car, he paid for his college, everything. I'm thinking, well, I'm meeting this guy, he's 25 years old, he's a full-grown friggin' man. Full-grown friggin' man. At 25 years old. He had no excuses for nothing, doesn't blame anybody for anything. He's all up straight up a man. And I thought, well, I really still don't want to coach this guy. What does he do? He brings me deal after deal after deal that's a no freaking brainer and says, I don't have the money, but if you want to put the money, I'll partner with you. I try one. He doesn't call on me for anything except for when he needs to. When he's expertise, what do I do? You have experience in this. But if you ask him, where do I buy? He didn't need to ask me where to buy paint. He's smart enough to figure out. He asked me about, is there colors? Do you have a routine? You know, and so I get in with him 2 deals, 3 deals. We started making money, 5 deals, 33 deals later. My office administrator, who's my daughter, who's been sitting in the middle of my office, closing every deal for 24 years in and out, calls me and calls both of us on speaker and says, y'all need to get your asses to the office right now. We got problems. And I'm thinking, oh crap. So we both head over there. She says, either you got to get out of his company or he's got to get out of your company, but this isn't working. The books are messed up. I looked at him and said, you want to be partners? He's now 32, multi-millionaire. That guy knows how to do it. Bring freaking deals, do your work, and never let there be one penny in your pocket that's not supposed to be in your pocket.
Yep. And I think you brought up a good point with that story is persistence. You know, it takes.
And when I asked him, you want to be partners? There was a moment. And he said, that's what I've been shooting for the whole time.
Oh man.
He had he had his eye on me the whole time. I never really knew it. I didn't know it. I thought it was happening naturally. This guy had a plan, and he worked that damn plan all the way to
eight moves ahead.
Status.
Right. I mean, that's thinking ahead, forward thinking and persistence. And that's what business takes.
At 32, I had my head so far up my rear end, I couldn't even read a book. I couldn't, there this guy is at 25, and he knows exactly, my hat's off. He's been a great partner, still is a great partner. And he's one of the reasons I can do the 120 houses a year, 100 houses a year average, and not have to be there all the time. It's his turn to, pull the wagon, and my turn to make sure it's loaded with supplies and got everything it needs, and that it runs right. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, other reasons to have partners. One is you tap their network. One, you can ride their reputation. Be careful the partner you pick. There's a lot of people out there doing a lot of big things, but if they're not the kind of person you want to be off the field, nix that deal right now.
That's good.
It's got to be someone you want to be on the field and off the field.
That's a very good point.
Because you stand next to crap, you start to smell like crap.
Exactly.
And you be very careful of your reputation. Always edify your partners. You're always lifting them up in front of people. And we do that. This is not happening by accident. We know to edify each other in all the circles we're at. We don't talk about us. I talk about my partner. When he's in the room, he talks about his partner. We're standing next to each other. It still rubs off. So, and if you're not sure, I'm helping a student today. If you're not sure, right, about someone, or if you want to be partners, just go. Well, the great thing about real estate is you can partner one deal at a time.
Yeah, that's a great point. Absolutely. And
one deal at a time. Like when you started out with your partners, you just jump in and form a corporation and say, we're going to be partners? Or did you like do a little something, and then it became apparent that you're on the same page, you think alike, you guys both bring something different to the table, and it works. Usually it's kind of like a romance, believe it or not. It's really hard to find.
Yeah. I mean, my first partner, we were great friends, and we had known each other for years, had grown up together, but we thought very differently. And so after our first deal, we realized once we actually started doing business together, it's like being married. We realized, like, if we're going to keep this friendship, the way that we approach the business is too far different. We can't keep doing that. So we did a deal. We moved on, went on, and we're still friends because of it.
Yeah, I just told one of my students, I said, look, do 6 deals with this guy, and if you don't like it, you buy him out of 3, and one partner will divide the 6 houses into 2 piles. One guy will divide them up into 2 piles, and the other guy gets to pick a pile. Easy. So, man, we could probably talk forever. So I want you guys to go check out this Getting Started in Real Estate with Ty Lasater. Also, be looking probably, in the next 30 days. Probably by the time this is posted, it'll be out because I'm running about 3 weeks behind.
Okay.
postings or ahead of schedule. So partner your way to millions with Ty Lasater. And I want you guys to go to reinvestorsummit.com/Ty. And over there, he'll have, you know, whatever, Ty, it's evergreen. You ever want to add your events or your boot camps or your or whatever you got going on, if you have coaching or whatever, put it over there. And my people will get with your people. We'll make sure we're current. And of course, we'll put the links to the 2 digital downloads of these ebooks. But you can see everything that's going on in Ty's life. You have a pretty big life. How many events do you hold a year?
Well, I've done 9 in the last 4 weeks. So,
oh my gosh. So you'll do like, I don't know, what, 50, 60 events?
I mean, it varies. I'm not going to do any more for the next probably 45 days. So I'll kind of go in spurts. And so when I do it, I'll do 3 days in a row at 3 different cities that are close by, and then we move around. And so I kind of start doing it to build up. And I've got ADD, and I like the challenge. And so
like the change.
Yes,
like
and change. So what I did with my real estate business is we've made it boring and systematized 80% of it. So I only have to be available to really sign off on 20%. And so makes it boring for me. And so I want to go out and create a challenge. And so that's kind of how I do my events, is when I'm ready to do them, I do them, and then I'll scale back, and it varies.
Tell us a little bit about the event you have where you bring in the celebrities and you talk about celebrity branding.
Yeah. So, well, the one that we've got coming up in November, that's a 4-day event. We actually have the first day, we've got a property investor panel. And so Hugh Hilton, Vanilla Ice, George Ross will all be on it discussing real estate and then buying and selling businesses. And then the next 3 days, there's a day of, basically it's kind of like a trade show. And so we'll have all of our vendors there and stuff like that for people looking to partner and do deals. And then we'll have 2.5 days of our clients interview celebrities, our clients speak on stage, and basically it's building a brand around them and helping them, you know, escalate their brand so that they can take that out and use that in their business and their marketing. And then we'll do little experience things like that.
That's mostly on, I mean, that's not, it's probably 50% real estate investors, but it's not all about real estate. It's about entrepreneurialism and business in general. Correct. And marketing in general, correct. Right? So, I mean, marketing's marketing. You just bend it to whatever avenue you need to bend it in.
Exactly. But and then I do, so those events that I do, like the 9 that I've done recently, it's about half and half. Half of them are around branding and marketing and entrepreneurship. The other half is real estate specific. It's, here's how you build a successful real estate company. And I kind of go into, I don't do a lot of, I am niche. We've done some large multifamily, 100+ unit multifamily deals and done well. And then we do the 1 to 4 family. And then now we focus on the smaller apartments. I don't really do many storage units. I've done a couple of mobile home parks. We no longer own those. We owner finance those to other partners of ours. And it's just not in our focus. And so I curtail those real estate events around what it is that I'm really good at. So
good for you, man. Well, man, we could talk for weeks. I'm sure we could.
Yes.
If you're ever down in my neck of the woods, you're going to look me up, right?
Yeah, I am definitely going to do that. I'll reach out to you here later, and we'll
You're over in Dallas, so I'm in San Antonio. So we're not that far apart.
Not far.
So go to reinvestorsummit.com/Ty, TIE. Get your take a look at the ebooks. Take a look at the events that he has scheduled. And I don't know, we didn't have a lot of time to talk before we got on here. We're skidding in on 2 tires, both of us, but we'll get it together. I want to thank you for taking the time, Ty.
Mitch, thank you. I really appreciate the invite. I love being on here. Fantastic talking to you and kind of getting to know you a little bit. I look forward to staying in touch, and I'm definitely going to hold you up, and I'll reach out to you when I'm down in San Antonio. I know for sure I'm doing an event. I know this is a few months out. I'm doing an event in February. I'm actually partnering with somebody down there doing an event in February, and I've got Vanilla Ice going to be at that event, but it's going to be a real estate related event. So I'll reach out to you before then. Maybe I'm down there before then. We'll have to get together.
All right. And I want to thank taxfreefuture.com, my sponsor. If you please check them out. You won't believe what your financial advisors are not telling you. There's 37 video vignettes there. Very, I don't know, eye-opening. There's a reason why the wealthy are wealthy. It's because They take what's out there and it's available to them. It's available to everybody. I get to be mad at these rich people are they're all somehow connected or special. They're not. Those families know how to find information and use tools that are available to the whole world.
Yeah, they use the tools that are available.
Yeah, they're just, they talk about money at the dinner table, just like Kiyosaki. They discuss how to minimize taxes and maximize profit. And there's, it's all about education. And that education's open to everybody. It's not just blue bloods. So you can get out there. I mean, I'm not a blue blood. Were you a blue blood? Were you raised with a bunch of money?
No.
No. I was broke as they get.
Yeah.
I mean, just listen. Just look at me.
my dad worked hard. He did have his own business. He worked hard and finally kind of got a little bit successful, but we never talked about money. So I really never knew. And so it was really, it was that first 6 years of me learning what is the wrong way and finally figuring it out. And so now I talk about all my businesses with my kids know the situation that we're in financially at all times. And I think that's good. What you don't know is always your biggest issue, your weakest link. So
here we go again. We start a whole nother show right here.
I know, right? I know.
So thanks, taxfreefuture.com. Thank you, Ty Lasater. Thank you for all the listeners out there. Thanks for stopping by to get you some Ty Lasater. And we'll see you guys next week, okay? Or next podcast, whenever. Be sure to check us out. We got over 300 archived podcasts now at reinvestorsummit.com. So if you think of somebody who would be an interesting interview, give me an email, Mitch at 1000houses.com, Mitch at 1000houses.com. Or if there's a show maybe I need to be on or Ty needs to be on, let them know. Give us a call. All right. Thank you very much, you guys. We're out of here.
Fantastic. See you.